So dear participant, I'll repeat 2 times because this is very important that our history has actually gained. So the first line is the community-based dispute resolution. So I want you to note it down, what actually is the community-based dispute resolution. Then I'll come back to different modes of community-based dispute resolution. So now you might have heard about village assemblies because in Bangladesh also you are more aware of village assemblies before, and also you might be aware of the elder councils and also the clan and caste forums and the religious institutions. So see, like we have been included the different perspective of mediation via these traditional methods of dispute resolution under the mediation. So we used to have the very common indigenous mediation system. So you might be, quite frightened with the name that I'm going to now dictate, but that's not the thing that you need to memorize every words because, as I said, that you will also get these names in the slide that I'm going to provide you. So just remember a few lines that I'm going to talk about that used to be our common indigenous mediation system in the context of Nepal. The first one is known as the Panchabalani. So this is very interesting. So though it is very hard for you to memorize, but before that we used to have the Panchabalani. So I would like to translate it into English. So Pancha means 5, okay, and Baladi means the bona fide people. Bona fide people means who are educated, who are enlightened, who knows much more better about the society itself, and they were quite educated. So there used to be the 5 council of 5 elders, and that we used to call it as Pancha Baladi. So Pancha Baladi, so the people used to carry out their disputes in front of those Panchabaladis, and those Panchabaladis used to look up at those cases and then address it via the mediation means. That means via the common, the community grounds. And second, we used to have the Mukhiya, Mukhiya, and that means that was actually practiced before, like in the history of Nepal. And also, as I stated that, giving the brief history of Nepal, Nepal is, home of different ethnic groups. So among one of the indigenous community, there is one indigenous community that Newar. So now again, you might have difficulty to memorize this particular term. So now I would like to repeat it out. That means we have the Newar community. So basically in this indigenous community, back then the mediation was still practiced with a system of Guti-based mediation. Now you might be, thinking like, what might be this Guti-based mediation? So Guti-based mediation is also actually the historical practice in Nepal where there used to be the Gutiar. So the Gutiar is that same as the bona fide and elite people who used to look up and the disputes itself and try to resolve it in the very traditional manner. That means no formal courts, but there used to be the assembly of the people, there used to be the parties who are into disputes, and the so-called Gutiar, they used to mediate among the parties, and they want to resolve the disputes as per se. So that was actually practiced in the Newar community. And after that, we have another section of indigenous community again. So dear participants, so we used to have this Guru communities. So Guru communities, it is also one of the indigenous communities in Nepal, and actually those Guru communities used to, settle down the disputes along with the system of Rudi-based informal consensus. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to note down this important term, and that is informal consensus. So see, even in like modern era, we have been practicing the formal consensus, even among the governments, even among the formal institutions, even among the courts. But you see, long back also, we used to have this concept of informal consensus. So this informal consensus was actually practiced among the Guru communities. That means whatever disputes happen among the Guru communities, then what they will do is that they actually, have the informal consensus among the the disputing parties. And you might be asked about like what about other communities? So they used to have the other communities as well. And in Nepal, basically looking back, they used to like address the disputes, resolve the disputes via mediation, and that was actually the collective dispute settlement. There used not used to be the um, highest level of disputes, but actually with regards with the keep it based collective dispute settlement mechanism, the communities used to resolve the disputes, and that's how the common indigenous mediation system was held in the context of Nepal. Now you might ask me like, what was the objectives of that sort of practices going around in Nepal, and still that these practices that I mentioned has even now effect in the modern context of ADR, that is alternative dispute resolution. Um, the objective was never winning a case. So if you look in the modern perspective, even in Bangladesh, you see in the courts, the lawyers, they actually fight to win a case, isn't it? So the actual goal, the only ambition of filing a case in the court is winning the case. So that means one party has to lose and one party has to win, and that is obvious. So now what happens is that the parties are into very animated relationship. That means what if he loses, or what if he wins, what if he or she lose and win. So that was the actual thought process going around the courts wherever we actually bring down any cases in the courts, right? So looking back to this actual theory, then I must say that this actual, historical perspective of mediation was the best approach that even the modern societies has to indulge in. So why I am telling this is that because before in the historical era, relationship was considered as one of the important things. So they don't want to have enmity among each other because they know that cooperation among the society is very important. Because we never know that who is going to help you in the later days, right? Similarly, so the basic ambition, the basic objective of having this historical mediation is to restore relationship. So this is very important point because restoring relationship is now has been a joke because nobody cares about relationship. They only cares about their own self-vested interest, and that's why nowadays you cannot find any peace, and also people are fighting among each other. They just want to win among others. So that's how restoring relationship was one of the big point, one of the important and one of the best point that we could, if you turn out the pages of history of mediation in the context of Nepal, then you can find restoring relationship as one of the best objective of settling the disputes in the context of Nepal and also in other South Asian countries. So the second one is to preserve the social cohesion. So now I would also like you to note down this point. The point is social cohesion. So why social cohesion is that this actually the traditional, or you can say the historical mediation would definitely leads in preserving the social cohesion, of course. And now what the society, even like Nepali society, Bangladeshi society, Sri Lankan society, what they are actually demanding in the perspective of ADR is this, that is preservance of the social cohesion. So now let's come back to the third important point, and that is ensuring the dignity of the people. So like wherever the cases are brought in front of the court, then what it did is that they want to talk about the very bad points of the other parties, and so that they may win the case. And that will be the actual objective of argumentation in the court. But the history of mediation is very much important, that now the people realize that, okay, the history of mediation has actually ensured unity among the people, and that was the best part. So that's why in the modern context also, we are trying to protect and to ensure unity among the people. So that is why in Supreme Court of Nepal, and today also we are, telling that, okay, please go
It's
with the
10
mediation.
hours.
Let's go to the mediation. Let's not fight in the court. But it's if we move across the path of mediation, then that would be the best approach to ensure dignity among the parties. And that's quite a good part, right? So now, dear participants, move forward. Move forward. Now, preventing the future conflict. So, what do we mean by preventing future conflict? This point is very, very important, and I want you to write it down as well. So, see, like future conflict can happen anytime and any place. For example, once a case is brought in front of the court, then that will remain forever. Now you already know that. Now you see, like, nobody is going to talk to you after the case. So even in the long run, then if you see that person, you will just look back. You don't want to look up in the face, and then you just want to drag away. So that means the long-term relationship is collapsed. Why? Because you are going to have the grudges among yourself. So that is also the only reason the philosophy has actually strongly resonates in the South Asian values, and that I already said. That means the restoration of relationship, and that is also very important. So now, dear participants, you have to also understand the important philosophy that resonates strongly with the South Asian values, including in Bangladesh. So, what are the important philosophical values? The important philosophical values also lies among with the moral authority rather than the legal authority. So, how come this philosophy come into role plays that moral authority over the legal authority? So now I will be dealing with some of the important historical inscription that shows that it is built for the community leaders and the leaders. As you're like the training of mediation is going on right there also. So basically, the philosophy will resonate along with the local disputes. That means there used to be the community leaders, and those community leaders are the trained leaders by their moral ethics. So now you can imagine the situation that even yes, in a mediation perspective, like you are not so before in the historical era, if you look back and see the historical era, the people there used not there was not like the training institutions, right? So that means like you are very fortunate that we have BIMS institution, but before there was not any training institutions. Then the biggest question that popped up in our mind was like, how come this community leaders mediate among themselves, mediate among the parties without the training process? So now the actual truth fascinates you a lot. That means the philosophy that was deeply rooted in the then Nepal and then Bangladesh was the South Asian values. Now, you might be in love with the South Asian values that we have, and that South Asian values is can be coped along with like the moral values. So moral values means like distinction between right and wrong with the good conscience and the right results. Then who are able a person to distinguish like what is wrong and what is right, and the reasonings that they are bringing forward in the table. So that means there must be a very bona fide person who actually know about what's going around and how to mediate among the parties and how to settle the disputes in a very peaceful manner. So that was that is why there is a need of one of the trusted person in the community, isn't it? So the trusted community. So now the biggest question pop up is like, who can other people trust, and then they will actually bring forward the case in front of the community leaders. So now the actual question got an answer with the trust among the religious figures. That means those who were the religious leader, they actually got an opportunity to look upon the cases so that they can actually mediate among the parties. And also sometimes if